New information tonight in an NBC 26 update. Appleton police have identified the victim in Sunday's deadly shooting. 47-year-old Bobby Higgs of Green Bay was found dead from multiple gunshot wounds in the 500 block of West Washington Street. According to police, the shooting happened during a party in the basement of the building. Tonight, investigators have released new surveillance photos of possible witnesses to the crime. These photos were taken near the crime scene on the night of the shooting. Police have interviewed some witnesses, but so far no one has been arrested. If you know someone in any of these photos or have any information about the shooting, please call Appleton Police.
A 17-year-old boy has been charged with making terrorist threats. Authorities say he told people he would start shooting at Wapaka High School. Dominic Silva, you see him here, is the suspect. He was released from jail today. He had a $5,000 signature bond. Court records say he confessed to talking about shooting students in the hallways after lunch. Court documents say he also said he was not serious about the threats and did not have access to guns. Court records say no guns were found inside his room, but officers did find 8 knives, a hatchet, a marijuana pipe, and a bottle of booze. According to court paperwork, attendance at the Wapaka High School was down by about 90% today. There were extra officers as a precaution at school. A lawyer for the teen was not listed in online court records.
Let's talk about weather now. Sure feels a lot like summer out there, even tonight.
A little bit back to the future, but after all, Cameron, the calendar still does say summer.
That's right. Astronomical fall still several days away, so technically, yes, it is still summer, and it does feel like it across the state tonight. 64 degrees right now in Appleton. In Green Bay, we're looking at 65. That's pretty warm, considering the normal high for this time of year is 70. It has also been quite humid. Dew points today were in the mid to upper 60s. Right now, we're looking at dew points in the lower 60s. If you really want some summer-like weather, head to the next state west. 78 right now in the Twin Cities, still 80 degrees in Brainerd. That's pretty crazy considering it's 10:06 at night. All right, tonight some patchy fog will develop. That'll linger into tomorrow morning, especially near Lake Michigan. By the final bell, lots of sunshine, breezy and warm, summer-like. Temperatures away from the lake, pretty close to 80. Back to you.
Cameron, thank you. A local homeless shelter is filled to capacity tonight, and the sudden demand has stretched their budget to its max.
The new community shelter in Green Bay is experiencing money issues. NBC 26's Ryan Curry in studio now with more on the shelter's money plan. Ryan?
John and Nina, the new community shelters say they've been at capacity or over capacity for most of 2019. The shelter says they plan to continue to help people in need, but they need more money to do it.
We need money. We need money because we got to get some things fixed around here, and we need to maintain the services that we have.
When the doors open at 5 o'clock each night, members from the new community shelter in Green Bay will serve around 250 people each day. After dinner is over, nearly 100 people will stay the night, which the shelter says is higher than usual. In years past, an average of 70 people would stay the night at the shelter.
We used to have peaks and valleys where the population, the numbers would go up and down, and we haven't seen that so much, and that's a bad thing.
The shelter wants to do some renovations to serve a higher number of people, but right now they don't have the money. But more importantly, the shelter needs more staff members to help its population. Anyone who stays at the shelter is open to receiving counseling on areas such as addiction and mental health. But with a lack of funds, Refsgard and her staff say they won't be able to pay enough people to do the job.
You know, our staffing to provide the services to the people we serve, they need to be, we've got individuals with degrees, and we need to pay people competitively just like everybody else.
The new community shelter is trying to fundraise money from its donors. They set a goal for $100,000. However, that money will go towards the general fund. Refsgard said the money for more employees and renovations will have to come from donations from the public.
We need more staff because we have more people and more people with greater needs.
And if you would like to donate to the new community shelter, there are multiple ways to do so. And you can find that on our website, NBC26.com. Ryan Curry, NBC 26.
Thank you, Ryan. Well, we've had temperatures that allow us to hang on to summer just a little while longer. Coming up next, we're going to check in with Cameron Moreland to see if it's going to last.
Nice night outside on this Tuesday. And still ahead here for us, a trip to a museum known for unique trains from rides to history. Eric Krest has the story in small towns a little bit later.
You're connected to NBC 26 News at 10 with Nina Sperano, John Erickson, Chief Meteorologist Cameron Moreland, and NBC 26 Sports with Brandon Kinnock. NBC 26 News at 10, keeping you connected. And now, your Storm Shield forecast with NBC 26 Chief Meteorologist Cameron Moreland.
Away from Lake Michigan, it felt like summer once again today. Most spots getting up into the 80s. We had 83 in Wapaka, 81 in Fond du Lac. It was 81 in Mountain, and the high temperature in Kaukauna was 80 degrees. And we have more summer-like warmth on the way here as we wrap up summer the next 5 days. Monday, fall officially arrives. Until then, it's going to be warm. You can see upper 70s to lower 80s are in the forecast. Even when we do cool down on Sunday and into early next week, temperatures will still be above normal for this time of year. And speaking of above normal temperatures, that's what we're looking at right now across the entire area. 69 degrees still in Wapaka. We've got 67 in Shawano. A mixture of clouds and sunshine for most of the day, and then lots of sunshine at sunset. And I stopped the frame here at sunset because we reached a milestone today. What is that milestone? Well, the sunset at 7 o'clock, that's the milestone. We're losing about 2 minutes of sunlight each and every evening, which means in just 2 weeks, the sun will be setting at 6:30. The next time we have a sunset at 7 o'clock or after will be on March 14th. Storm Shield radar shows quiet conditions across northeast Wisconsin tonight. We did have a big thunderstorm complex pass to our north and west throughout the day. It is now shifting north into Ontario. It did produce some cloudiness across the area at times during the afternoon. You can see those clouds now shifting off towards the east. That thunderstorm complex being generated by our next weather maker, which is a frontal boundary draped off to our north and west. South of that frontal boundary today, across the central and northern plains, it was feeling like the middle of July. Temperatures were in the 80s and 90s. We had temperatures that range from the 60s near Lake Michigan to the 80s inland. So that means high temperatures have now been above normal for 5 straight days, and tomorrow will be day number 6. Close to the lake with a southeast wind, mid to upper 60s, but inland we'll be looking at upper 70s to lower 80s across the Fox Valley and lower to mid 80s west of the Fox Valley. That's more like July or August, not mid to late September. Skycast shows quiet conditions tomorrow, sunshine mixing with a few clouds as that frontal boundary works in from the north late tomorrow night into Thursday morning. It'll touch off some scattered showers and thunderstorms, and then on Thursday, it's going to start to push back to the north. As that happens, we'll have a chance for a shower or a thunderstorm as we move through the afternoon or evening. Besides that, look for a mixture of clouds and sunshine. So tonight, some patchy clouds and some patchy fog. Once again, we could see some locally dense fog, especially near Lake Michigan, late tonight into tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow, sun and clouds, breezy and warm. My 3-degree guarantee is 81. If I can hit that high within 3 degrees, we will donate $100 to Project Backpack, and we did that today. I forecast 80. The official high in Green Bay was 79. On Thursday, a chance for some morning showers and thunderstorms, then sun and clouds with a chance of a shower or a thunderstorm, upper 70s to lower 80s. That frontal boundary is going to be close enough Friday into Saturday that there will be a chance for some showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, sun and clouds. The best chance is going to be on Saturday. You can see high temperatures pretty close to 80. And then that frontal boundary drops to the south on Sunday. Maybe a morning shower. It looks dry by kickoff at this point. And then fall arrives on Monday with mid-70s and some sunshine.
We were talking about earlier, with the exception of this week, we really got a shortened summer. So it's
We
nice
did.
to have this kind of bounce back even for a little bit.
Yeah, it didn't really start until the end of June, and it kind of wrapped up the 2nd or 3rd week of August.
A whole 7 weeks of summer.
There you go.
Going all the way to the end here
Yeah.
until we're on the doorstep of fall here. All right, Cameron, thanks so much. Still ahead here, the draw of locomotives. Tonight we take you on a trip filled with the sights and sounds of trains. Every year, more than 100,000 people travel to the Green Bay area to visit a one-of-a-kind museum.
But unlike most museums, this one lets you experience history firsthand. And tonight's Small Towns, Eric Kress takes us to the National Railroad Museum in Ashwaubenon.
Since opening in 1956, the National Railroad Museum in Ashwaubenon has been acquiring locomotives from across the country.
Most of them you can go into at least a portion of them.
Trains from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and beyond riddle their living museum, some of them a bit more coveted than others, like the Big Boy locomotive, the largest steam locomotive in the world and most powerful.
The Big Boy, we had to build the building around it, so that's going to stay where it's at.
Everything you'll run into indoors has been restored by staff and volunteers to look as close to original as possible. It's a challenge considering they have about 70 different exhibits that have been restored on site.
We're trying to collect unique, well-curated items, things that you're not going to find anywhere else.
But if you yearn for another experience, perhaps one where you can actually see a historical relic in action, well, they've got you covered on that front too.
When people come to the museum, they want to be able to go on as many trains as possible, but they also want that experience of riding on a train.
This particular train is a 1941 Alco made by the American Locomotive Company. They were a steam engine builder.
At the National Railroad Museum, guests have the opportunity to go for a quick ride around the grounds and hear the story about how the railroad industry changed America.
So they not only see a lot of very interesting equipment, some of the older steam engines, the early diesels, but they also learn about how this contributed to the development of the United States.
Through their guided tour that nearly always stays on track.
There is a conductor back there, and he's explaining to them all the pieces of equipment that they're seeing.
These conductors, who double as volunteers, give their guests a crash course in locomotive history. They couldn't be any more hands-on.
We all have a common interest in railroading, and so we share that experience, and it's a chance to operate real equipment.
This is the National Railroad Museum, a place where nearly 300 volunteers are needed to fuel the engine that ultimately produces a bit of history that train lovers across northeast Wisconsin are yearning for. In Ashwaubenon, covering small towns for NBC 26, I'm Eric Crest.
The National Railroad Museum is open year-round, and curators tell us during the winter, it's a different experience altogether.
Still ahead here for us, where the Brewers stand after